In a world where Agamas infest volcanoes, RNG is master, and Garland is a speed bump along the way, 4 warriors of light rise to save this world. No matter how much the RNG hates us, but two gamers set out on their journey to beat this game as quickly as they can, because that's what we're here for. Hey everybody, welcome to SpeedGaming. This is Final Fantasy 1, the Pixel Remaster version. Starts with this nice 2-minute cutscene just to get you all hyped up and... Yeah, can I go yet? Can I go yet? Can I go yet? But we have leggystarscream, Funknasty, ready to do this thing. The party composition similar, because basically we have just found this is consistently the fastest party that we can use. Thus, we use it, because the goal is going fast. Now, bear in mind, this party basically represents the glass cannon philosophy incarnate, and that's our best answer to speedrunning this game. So we could do high levels of damage, and we don't really take a lot of hits very well. So runners will be trying to mitigate that the whole time. You will for sure see it. We might even see some of it for Garland. It's not uncommon to have our first death before Garland. We try to avoid it, but it can happen sometimes. The double black mages give us plenty of damage output, primarily for the random encounters that we're going to face, but also for most of the bosses we're going to deal with until the late game, and then they fall into a support role. To get started with, we want a little bit better weapon for that fighter, and the chainmail. That's armor to get us through some of this early game where the fighter does need to carry the party, but it's only the early game, and then the fighter goes bye-bye in ways you'll see later on if you haven't already. But chat, how you doing tonight? How's everybody? Okay, everybody's too many people, but how are you? We're here to enjoy Final Fantasy 1. Thank you so much for joining us here on SpeedGaming. Our runners picking up Thunder for the Black Mages, and then mandatory that you have to talk to the king instead of just going to save the princess, I guess, because they wanted to make sure you would know what you were doing? Something like that. They had a good solution to that on the NES, though, which is that you couldn't go anywhere else. It was crude yet effective method of making sure you did the right thing by giving you literally no other choice. Alright, 3 minutes in and you're finally gaming. You've got control a little bit. You can walk to the one destination available, that is the Chaos Shrine up here to the northwest. The goblin there is pretty good in that he's quick, he's okay experience, he doesn't do any damage because he didn't get a turn in, and leggystarscream gets there with only the one encounter. That gets you there faster, but not as much damage output from your melee people. That's okay. Thunder will do the job if Garland doesn't one-shot the mages. Now, one-shotting the fighter is a bit more rare. leggystarscream does get through it. Now, if anybody's going to die, you do want it to be the fighter, and that is a horrible, awful, no-good, bad encounter for Funknasty. The wolves are a pain to run away from, and poison is just absolute garbage right now. And the wolf just ran away despite having damage, which might actually be worse. I don't know. But this might get Funknasty level 2. For leggystarscream, with the princess rescued, you king will build a bridge, and you also get a used musical instrument for your trouble. So a random encounter / Garland fight difference. Now the trouble with taking that extra fight is you can see how vulnerable the monk and black mage are, that Garland doesn't even need a crit to take them down, whereas it was a pretty big crit against leggystarscream, and that's a dead black mage. But that's also a dead Garland, so it kind of balances out, sort of, not really. Now that is going to force Funknasty to revive the Black Mage in Canaria. It's not a huge setback, other than money is really tight in the early game, and losing a couple potions worth of gold to do the revive is a pain. However, I believe everybody stays at the end, so that part's not going to be any significant loss to get the HP and MP up, because you usually do it just for the MP, in fact, before the walk to Provoca. Now there's a couple more cutscenes to be dealt with. That's right, Leggy has the dead fighter and gonna go ahead and revive here. The fighter does need to carry about the first 20 minutes or so of the run before we're ready to move on. You get this first bridge cutscene, and then there will be one more. Hey, Cheeseinator, welcome to chat. Hope you're doing well tonight. So 2 bridge cutscenes to get out of our way, and they basically put 3 kind of long cutscenes at the start of the game, and then you're good to go. There'll be some cutscenes elsewise, but none of them are this long. Unfortunately, now we get to the one that just feels the longest with the bridge cutscene for Leggy-Starscream. That's because you've been gaming. You're ready to go. We're in it now. Let's do this. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Nope, cutscene. Funknasty gonna revive the deceased Black Mage. Fortunately, didn't get poisoned from that werewolf encounter. Elsewise, you'd have to make another detour and purchase an antidote. Who wants to do that? So I said, basically everybody takes the end stay there because you get the HP revive, you get the HP restore and the MP restore, and it's a whole lot easier to do that in the early game than it is to buy ethers. They get expensive. They are for sale in Canaria. In fact, that'll come up before we head to Earth Cave. But for right now, we don't want to purchase items. Got better things to do, like watch bridge cutscenes. At least it's visually appealing, right? Alright, Leggy Starscream just about done with this one. And we'll be moving to the east for Provoca. You could go up to Matoya's if you wanted to, but there's no reason to. It's just out of the way and only has a couple potions. But if the game was 500 gold up there, I'd probably do it. Honestly, I'd do it for 200 gold, I think. 100 gold, probably not. Actually, that's pretty close to what it's worth between the two potions and the antidote. It's about 100 gold's worth. Alright, wolves. They are an annoyance. They're really not worth enough experience for how much trouble they are. They're a little bit high on their agility for this early in the game, which makes them quick. They take their turns before you. They get this little ticky-tack damage that's annoying. And they are also a pain to run away from if you were so inclined. However, that many is enough for a level for Lady Starscream. And now please go away and bother us no more. Ogre is great. Creeps, they're there. And this is bad, but recoverable. And Leggy is out of it. The Mad Pony's also bad. Basically all bad encounters on the way to Provoca. I promise there are decent ones. We just haven't seen any of them. Now, at the point you're talking about 3 revives, I'm not sure the money's going to work out for tempers here. Let's see what Leggy does. Gonna go for the shop. Yeah, only enough money for the 1 temper. That's what I was worried about, because you also need money for the end to actually restore HP on the characters that you had just revived. So that's pretty critical. Alright, Funknasty's in a little bit better position here for this ogre creep fight. Plus, there's one less creep, and that actually makes a significant difference here. Pirate time for leggystarscream. Pirates, they exist. They're a little bit harder in this version than other versions. That doesn't mean they're hard, it's just harder. And Funknasty got a much better walk to provoke. Had the bad ponies that we didn't want, but no deaths to restore. And with an ogre kill, has better money than leggystarscream did, so gotta be able to purchase the tempers, no problem. Pirates down for leggystarscream. You defeat the pirates, you get a boat, and like you're probably going to pick up the other temper. That NPC in the way is why we actually like to purchase it before the pirate fight instead of after. And it's just a real big pain to come back here later to buy tempers, so you want to get it done now, as Funknasty is on the fight, and these runners are actually closer than the entrance to Provoca suggests because Funknasty already has the tempers, so just gonna have to do the instay after the fight. So about one fight difference between them right now. Once you're on the high seas, you get Sahagins. They're a pain. Buccaneers are the preferred option of the day because they give really good gold, and I don't know if I've mentioned this, but gold is a bit of a tight commodity in the early game. We want as much of it as we can get. Right now you're looking for around 2,500 gold to be able to purchase 2 casts of thunder and a few potions to get you through Marsh Cave. And again, I would say Funknasty got a little bit better of the RNG with the random encounters, just that it's a shorter fight. The Shark's not very good on the gold, but they are pretty good for experience. Also, there are random drops in this game. The Sahagins do like to drop potions on occasion, so some safeties there to help you get through the Marsh Cave are a welcome sight. The Canary Inn is of course available after you leave Provoca, and it's kind of a interesting way to break up the trip to Elfland because it's about halfway. It's a chance to fully restore your MP to sail down there, and you really want to kill a bunch of enemies right now for a bunch of money right now. In fact, Leggy's going to farm them outside Canaria where the inn is cheaper. Once you've got 1,000 and can buy the first Thunder, it makes a little more sense to do it around Elfland. But this is a very cheap inn, and it's probably not easier to get into than the Elfland one, but definitely cheaper and no risk of overworld encounters. Cheese, random loot drops have been a thing since PSP for sure, but I think since GDA. So, like 20 years at this point. Funknasty taking care of business, getting a couple potions for the effort, and has definitely gotten good encounter RNG. Not great, but good. Leggy's a little to the bad side of Ledger. Anytime you take early deaths, it's unpleasant. Once you get Thunder Spell, it is a game changer because you finally have AoE magic and you can clear out a pack of these enemies a whole lot easier. Wolves are still a complete waste of time, even if you can take them out with one-shot AoE. A couple of things we're watching in this early game. One is the gold counts to be able to make the purchases you need. The other is the mage, in particular, HP growth. You really want a couple of strong level ups, other than the mandatory. Not mandatory. There's a couple levels where you automatically will get a strong level up of stuff like HP. So we know when those are. I say that, I mean, in terms of documentation, but I don't remember them all off the top of my head. I just know that they exist. However, you can get some random ones, and that's what we really want to make sure that the HP makes sense. Hey, there we go. Ask and you shall receive. Lucky Pookie backing me up with it being level 4, level 8, and level 14. So the level 8 will be the one that matters before or around Marsh Cave, at least. We don't have an immediate demand on the HP, but if you get an extra 20 this early, then it's only going to make the rest of the game that much easier. Also, when you level up your melee characters, they get a little bit more durable for some of the fights that are coming up, and they need to carry 2 bosses at this point. Then we'll be all about those mages for more than half the run. So the real contrast there between Leggy, Starscream, and Funknasty, that's how much difference having that AoE makes. There's also intelligence gains, and basically the more the merrier because they do factor into spell damage. And in particular, every 10 is a threshold where spells will do significantly more damage. Now, items, you definitely need antidotes. I had a run this morning where I needed 7 antidotes just for inside the Marsh Cave. It was not a fun day. You can also pick up a shield as a safety item there, which makes the mage a little more durable. And Funknasty grabbing a couple tents. Tents will restore MP, but you can only use them on the overworld. And the descent to Marsh Cave, or the journey to Marsh Cave, begins for both sides. Leggy in position to get there first. And welcome to the Marsh Cave, home of everything awful. Well, not everything, but everything in it is awful. Ooh, double ogres from Funknasty. This is actually probably worth taking. I'd use the single target spells. Tempers work too. But the Thunder, and I think you would have just one-shotted the mages with the melee hit. So still really good experience this early in the game, and that matters. And they're also pretty good gold as well. And a deceased black belt to the gargoyles, yeah, that's a reset, and that makes perfect sense. Deaths happen in Marsh Cave. They are not fun. They're a big setback. There's a Phoenix down in that room right below Leggy Starscream right now. I have no desire to use that Phoenix down before the Pisca Demons. Actually, I don't even like to use it before Astos. There's some situations I might, but if you can quit the title screen and come back to an autosave, it's literally one battle, I think you're going to see most everybody go ahead and reset rather than lose the only Phoenix down this early in the run. So as I said, Marsh Cave, everything in it is awful. The gargoyles hit 3 times, so they like to crit. The scorpions love to crit and poison. There's like 4 enemies that like to poison, 1 enemy that likes to stun. It's just a whole bunch of miserable. So the cottage is a restoration item to get your HP and MP back, so of course we just want it for money. I may mention this, but money's kind of tight in the early game. I mean, you saw it where we basically couldn't even buy double-digit potions and have to make them stretch. That's how serious we're talking about, and there is just not a lot of margin for these fights the way we do them. In fact, Leggy only bought the One Thunder, which makes perfect sense the way this one has gone. I really like to get the two and already have it done. Of course, it's also kind of a level grind for me around Elfland, and you give up a minute or two if you do that, but I really, really like it that way. Couple poisons for Funknasty. Already picked up the Phoenix down. Leggy will be grabbing it on the way out, I assume. Because I can't imagine why you'd leave it behind. And that just stinks. There's a lot of enemies in Marsh Cave just love to get that crit in and do that extra damage to you that you just really didn't need to take. Yeah, big hit there with that gargoyle on the Black Mage was unfortunate. You'll see a lot of healing before you walk through a staircase. That's because the game will autosave on the transition like that. So it just makes sense to have the game save you with the health already up rather than having to redo it if something goes wrong. Potion supply is running low for leggystarscream as Funknasty gets in to the Piscademon fight. And with that, leggystarscream, the first one out of the Marsh Cave. That is always a wonderful feeling to no longer be in Marsh Cave. Funknasty obtains the crown. Level up off the double ogres. Again, they're about the best experience encounter this early. You could get a green ogre and double ogre that's technically better, but it's also slower because of the green ogre. So double ogre is a pretty high value encounter. Funknasty, try to get out of this Marsh Cave alive. Taking the approach of kill everything that moves, and that's hard to argue with when it's Marsh Cave. We have reached Astos. Astos is one of our real... There's three bosses that just sort of stand out in speedrunning this game for how annoying they can be. Astos is by far the least of the three because you didn't have to deal with random encounters to get here. Haste is a great first turn because Astos isn't going to melee much and it kind of is a free turn. Tempers, you get a lot of damage out of these melee characters if they don't get slowed. Here comes the magic. And Astos does big numbers. The fire, I believe, is the weakest element for Astos, and hopefully we're going to finish this off with good turn order. No, but it's only slow, so that's free, and good. Good job. The monk punches Astos' lights out, and with that, we recover Matoya's crystal. Funknasty's out of the Marsh Cave. That's what you call a great Astos fight. Now, as you may have noticed, 3 people were almost dead in that Astos fight. And yes, everyone in this tournament will tell you that was a great Astos fight. That's what we're dealing with. And this is showing up the difference of being low on the potions, that there was nothing Leggy could do about that death to ward it off, and now you're going to have to pay for another revive, which those things are significantly expensive. It's like, I think somewhere around 12 potions worth of gold that Leggy has already had to spend on revives, if not more. About to see what Astos has for Team Funknasty. Alright, so trying to save frames by not having the fighter attack and putting it all on the black belt. You can get the big damage rolls from the extra tempers, but of course, if slow hits the black belt, that gets real unfortunate real quick. Fire comes out. Funknasty perfectly able to deal with it, and Astos down, so a great Astos fight for both runners. Now what makes Astos so bad, you may wonder, if you just saw two runners get it on the first try. Okay, so imagine this. Astos does that fire spell the first turn, and then does another spell on the second turn. You won't have done anywhere near enough damage to kill Astos in 2 turns, but you are dead, and there is nothing you can do about it. That's what makes Astos so bad. Welcome to Matoya's Cave, who has never heard of this newfangled invention called a window. Matoya can't see her way around the cave, but we're going to fix that by giving her a crystal back. And your classic RPG fetch quest continues as we get the Jolt Tonic. So, clearly, time for a LAN party. Right? Right? Well, we gotta take that over to the nicest guy in the game. They say he's a real prince among elves. Looks like Funknasty is gonna try and do the revives at Canaria. Knowing that they are significantly cheaper. With that shield on, I don't think you'll have trouble getting there other than the time consumed. Because fighters aren't great at running away, and Sahagins are bad at letting. Chad asks, why would Matoya need a window? Well, if you're having trouble seeing in a dark cave, just thought that a window might help. Funknasty getting the revives done. This is a significant gold savings to do it here instead of Elfland. Just the time consumed coming here with the solo fighter, and you didn't kill anything on the sea, so you didn't get the money. Giving the Jolt Tonic to the sleeping prince. Not quite sure how he drinks it while sleeping, but never mind. The Awakened Prince gives us the Mystic Key, which enables us to open a bunch of doors that we otherwise couldn't, which is great for us because, as I may have mentioned, money is a little hard to come by in the early game, and the Mystic Key is a great way to get a bunch of it. Couple thousand gold worth of stuff in the Elfland Treasury. Our next destination gonna be Canaria, which also has There's some cash available, but most importantly to us is the nitro powder. Now, this is an enemy you'd love to kill right now, these Buccaneers. And Leggy gonna get it. The Nuke and Run strats, very effective. Does 300 gold really matter this early? Yes, it does, because, hey, that's some extra potions. And, again, we just saw 5 deaths after Astos between these two runners because they didn't have enough potions. That's the difference. If they didn't have the revives that they had to do, they would have had enough money for the potions and wouldn't have had the deaths and wouldn't have had to do the revives. And that's the way it all just kind of snowballs as it rolls downhill, thus creating the avalanche. This is our last chance to go item shopping before the Earth Cave. So this is about 30-40 minutes of gameplay that we have to do on just this one item shop. It's pretty critical to get everything done. Several of these things sell for pretty good money. A couple gold needles to restore you from the stone status. That's going to come up. Ethers give us restoration of MP. Potions, of course, restore HP. And you want a couple antidotes as well, because poison certainly happens in the Earth Cave. But if your stock is still good from what you bought from Marsh Cave, then you can be fine with that. This is also the point where you want to make sure you picked up the second Thunder if you didn't earlier. That really helps in clearing out some of these AoEs. Well, enemy packs with the AoEs, if I want to be more exact in what I'm saying. Do I? I don't know. We take effort. How you doing tonight, chat? You having fun yet? Any fun emotes in chat? Or are you the grumpy cat who tried to have fun once and it was awful? As Funknasty wakes up the prince, leggystarscream is handed over the nitro powder to Narek. Narek's gonna use that to blow up a chunk of the world and let us pass with the ship. Oh, popcorn emote, I appreciate that. That's definitely fun. A rip emote, that's not really the most fun. It's certainly not fun for runners. I mean, I guess if you're rooting for them to have a challenge to overcome, but don't worry, there's plenty of deaths in this run. You don't have to root for extra. Although you can root for Warmag, that's acceptable. The Dwarven Treasure Vault is, of course, stuffed with good stuff. We're able to get some serious cash out of it. And that's going to be necessary in Melmond to make some spell purchases. Also, very unfortunate, Hooray Dwarf was nerfed to be Lolly-Ho Dwarf. It's really a tragedy for those of us who knew Hooray Dwarf in his prime. Leggy able to sail the high seas over to Melmond. Unfortunately, that means you end up in Melmond. However, the game forces us to, so there you go. It's a lot of Buccaneers. Well, it's a definite downgrade to go from the Buccaneers to Grey Wolves, but I guess like he wanted to get an extra kill in before going into town. Now we sell off the stuff we picked up in the Dwarven Vault. Particularly the sword is great value, and like he's gonna have enough extra cash that there's a chance of buying a silver bracelet. No, actually I think it's 4,000. So I'm not gonna be able to. So right now we're just running around with those mages only equipped with the starter clothes armor that we began the game with. Did I mention that stuff can poison you around here and you better have enough antidotes? Because that's a thing. Welcome to Earth Cave. It's not Marsh Cave, but it tries. The nicest thing about Earth Cave is that the experience is better. And I mean the amount of experience the enemies gives you, not the actual walking through it part. We of course have to go through here 2 times because that's the way they made the game. Which, when you actually stop and think about it, if you didn't have to go through places twice, it actually would be a significantly shorter game. So there are reasons that they did this. There's a couple of things you do want to get done while you're in Earth Cave, and one of the most important ones is making sure you're a high enough level for your MP charges, because you want 2 charges on each of the black mages for the fire spell that you just picked up in Melmond. Like, you gonna go ahead and fight the single giant? Sure. I mean, a little beefy on the HP, but you can use the thunder charges, which don't really have a lot of use for elsewise in this cave. And a little bit of money out of that northern room on this floor. It's Funknasty, able to get the canal. I don't know that you can call this constructed, maybe destructed? Sure, let's go with that. Coming up next, in the Earth Cave, is the 3rd floor, or as I commonly call it, the floor of frustration. If you played it, you understand. These giants being a little, yeah. And we have a death in Earth Cave. Monk, which is probably basically the exact opposite of what Leggy was hoping for there. But this is what you have Phoenix Downs for, and if you don't have a recent save, you're definitely going to do that. 3rd floor time. Now we are in particular on the watch for jerkbirds. Because of course, it's an RPG. Birds are jerks. They have this little ability of theirs. We call it Stone Touch. When they attack, they have the ability to turn your character into a stone statue. And it's actually something we want them to do. Very specifically, we want them to do that to both the fighter and the knight. They do not have to do it before the vampire, but you'll commonly see them before the vampire. Sometimes even they're the first encounter on this floor. And there they are for Leggy Starscream. 2 of them is a nice number. If it's 4, I'll actually have the mages kill 2 of them off, just to control the fight better and make sure they don't accidentally turn all of my party to statues. There it is. Leggy's got the right to turned into statues. Time to kill off the jerk bird and get out of this fight. And now it's automatic that you want to save. So one of the biggest reasons we do this is that now enemies can target the statue but not deal any damage. They just miss. That's nice for a couple of reasons. It's actually faster than a normal attack, and you never have to heal, so you save time, menu time, and they will still gain experience. So we're able to bring along that monk for maybe not the next hour, but at least the next 50 minutes. With the black belt getting the necessary experience to level up high enough for the late game, but none of the liabilities of the early game. It's pretty sweet that way. And here we go with the vampire. The vampire who in lore attacked Melmond. We're here for revenge. Fire spells, of course, with a bonus damage to the undead. 2 casts. We're through the fight. That's about the gap between the two runners right now, is the entrance to vampire fight. That is still very reasonably close this early in the game. 3 green ogres are not a bad experience fight at all. Chat says the vampire did nothing wrong. What if I say Melmond was actually a pleasant place to go before the vampire? Would that change your opinion at all? Final Fantasy should be played by everyone every day, says chat. Well, that's certainly your opinion. What I will say is, you ought to enjoy it when you play it. It's a fun game. We speedrun it because sometimes we just hate ourselves. But hey, when it comes to speedrunning, things only have to work one time. Just getting that one time to be the right time is the catch. So NPCs do like to get in your way. They'll actually move if you walk into them, but that has a habit of putting you in the wrong place once they finally. Why blame it on the vampire? It was completely due to the infrastructure of the town. Did you ever ask yourself what the vampire's occupation was before he was the vampire? You gotta think these things through, chat. It's important. Alright, leggystarscream, walking out of Earth Cave. Because we gotta go get the rod to get through. And the jerkbirds for Funknasty. Got the 4. The benefit of that is there's more of them to do the attacks. The downside of that is it has more chance to spiral out of control. Chat, you're missing the point. The vampire was Melvin's general contractor. He's the one who built the bad infrastructure. It all traces back to the vampire. Alright, leggystarscream has exited the Earth Cave. Now the trek over to see Sarda begins. On the way, we are watching for one enemy in particular, which is the Lesser Tigers, because they have this nifty little rare drop called an X Potion. An X Potion will completely restore your HP, and that very much matters for the last fight in the game. So, it is something you're always happy to see if you get it early. This golem who's standing in the way, Titan if you will, in his tunnel, will let us by once we've given him a ruby. For whatever reason, the vampire had ruby, and Funknasty had not restored the second black mage. Only has the one, and takes a death to the random Piscadines. Funknasty trying to go faster on these fights with just having the one character to use. Unless for whatever reason didn't get the gold needles. Okay, I think that's what happened. I think Funknasty didn't get gold needles and is killing the jerkbirds here, hoping to get one. Did! Yup, there you go. That explains it. Good idea when you're en route money-wise to pick up a few. You generally want at least 2 gold needles. I like to have 3 or 4. Because I like safeties. That's why, part of why I go slow. Vampire time for Funknasty. Boy, this would have been miserable to try and do with just the one black mage, so that part worked out. Lots of ogres now. Where were these earlier on when we needed them? They're nowhere near as valuable now, but we can still make use of them. Judging by the timer colors, I'd say Funknasty did that pretty close to BP pace. And leggystarscream about to begin the final descent into the Earth Cave, chasing down the Lich. Again, the benefit of the statues, enemies attack them, don't deal any damage, and it happens to be one of the fastest things that can happen. The second trip through Earth Cave is usually a little more pleasant because by the vampire you gained a couple levels, you become a little bit more durable, and in particular, hopefully you've gained some agility to make encounters go better and give you more turns. And faster turns. We're seeing lots of jerkbirds today. And that's why you want extra gold needles. You could reset out of that and go back to the autosave, but you really, really don't want to. That is a lot of ogres. Fun fact, that formation couldn't exist in any other version of Final Fantasy 1. When they made the NES version, you could only have 4 giant sprites. So, of course, 6 is more than 4. But there was no place to put them on the screen back then. Now that we have more space on the screen because of how they do it, they made a change in this version to expand the number of enemies you could see, including the giant sprites. Some mummies. They've comprised the most boring encounter in the game. That one will just put you right to sleep. Here's the plate that we needed the rod to break. And thus we're able to continue on to the 4th floor. Mostly the same enemy set as the 3rd floor. A couple differences like these trolls. Still see the Piscademons and Jerkbirds. And Arachnids, oh my! Funknasty gonna be able to get past the Titan now. As Leggy serves up some barbecued Jerkbird. Okay, maybe not technically barbecued, but fried at least. And you know what? We're deep in the Earth Cave, so it's deep fried Jerkbird. There we go. I'll also accept Jerk Chicken. Final floor of the Earth Cave, where the Lich lives, or unlives as the case may be. Funknasty going to pick up the rod and be able to go on to reach the depths of the Earth Cave. And leggystarscream, the first of our runners to reach Lich. You will absolutely want to quick save because it's a long walk back. And no guarantees that you're going to first try and kill Lich. If you kill Lich within 3 tries, you're happy with that. That's a good result. Let's see if Leggy gets a good result. Fire, the best spell to use. Lich comes up blasting with the magic and one-shots the Lich. So this is not going to be a good result. This is a bad result. 126 is not awful HP, but it's not what you want. Funknasty has actually had significantly better HP growth to have neither Black Mage that low, so neither one will die to the one spell from Lich. Here we go, attempt number 2. Slow is a great thing for Lich to do because it doesn't matter at all. And we love when Lich does things that do not matter at all. Like attacking a statue, that's very good. Leggy's going to lead at least one more turn. But now spell won't kill Leggy's team before they do their thing. Slow again, this is a great Lich RNG fight so far. Come the Thunders, and Leggy's gonna get through this Lich fight. Blast Lich with 6 fires, and then it's not that hard to clean up with the Thunders, usually. So from the worst Lich RNG to about the best you could ask for, leggystarscream shows us the highs and lows of that fight, and restores the Crystal of Earth. And we'll move on to Crescent Lake. Well, have to get to the boat first, but that general direction. Hey, here's the tigers. Fair drop, maybe? No. Level 15, perfectly reasonable on Leggy's side for this part of the game. This is where we really begin the period of level grinding and burning through a lot of ethers by casting a lot of spells. What is my favorite FF game? It is this one. I do love FF1. I like pretty well all the varieties, although to be fair, I haven't played a lot of the GBA or PS1 version, but I'll still watch them. And I can certainly have a good day with FF1. 4 is also pretty good, and I have done several speedruns of 2. The actual 2. To the Crescent Lake area is leggystarscream. Personally, I like to throw down a quick save coming off the boat just to make sure there's not even a slim chance this goes horribly awful wrong and I have to redo the entire sailing trip. In fact, right now the last autosave is back at the exit to Earth Cave. Just keep that in mind for your safety saving needs. I'll say Chrono Trigger is also a pretty good FF. Alright, Leggy gonna sell some things off. And make some of those essential purchases, including a whole lot of ethers. You're also going to want the black magic here. The thunder spell here, able to clear out a lot more sea encounters. Maybe need another level up or 2 to get the full potential unlocked with 30 intelligence. But for now, we'll settle for a canoe. Sub-hour canoe, that's decent. Destination Ice Cave. Home to more pain and misery, but also the floater which unlocks the airship. It's not that everything in this game contains pain and misery, it's just that we stack 3 of those dungeons in a row. And then things get better. Funknasty on the trek to Lich. For the canoe, you're facing significantly harder enemies now because they merged the encounter zones at Northern and Southern River. So you end up seeing stuff like this Nacho, and that would have been in the Northern Rivers. It's better experience than the Ochos that you face down here, but hey, coming with that, it's harder to kill! Takes time. Takes time to get the better experience, but Leggy is now safety saved on the river. Prove the Crocs can just about, if not, one-shot these black mages, so killing it's pretty important. Let's follow Funknasty here with the Lich fight. Gotta come out firing! As you do. Fire the best element to use against the undead Lich. Lich answers with fire of his own. Second round. Magic damage out. Gotta hope Lich does not do any damage spells. That's what we need so far. Third round's gonna be clean. And turn. That's enough. Okay, so Funknasty had a higher level at least of intelligence there, and didn't need the Thunders to finish the job. So Lich is down on Funknasty's side. First try! You love to see it. You can be close to the 30 intelligence barrier at this point, and I'm guessing one of Funknasty's Black Mages rolled well and already got to the 30 intelligence mark. That does make a significant difference to your spell damage. The game loves its 10s when it comes to the intelligence. Lots of Pisca demons in this ice cave. They love to come in larger packs than you saw previously in Earth Cave. More undead, of course. A lot of undead here like to do stun touch, so that is something that we have to avoid. There's a couple of deadly enemies with the white dragons like to cast Blizzard, and 2 of those will certainly wipe out our party. The Mind Flayer like that, they have Death Touch, so that's a thing. They also like to AoE stun the party, that's also an awful thing. And then the Dark Wizards can certainly kill us with fire. Also unpleasant, we don't like being killed. Funknasty is going to do the safety strat of picking up the silver armlets. That is a dramatic improvement in the defense that the mages now have. Again, had that good Lich fight, getting through it first try. Question in chat, is there going to be an FF2 PR race after this one? Well, I'll put it this way, I organized this one, I'm not organizing 2. I would consider joining it too, but I'm not sure that would get 6 runners who are willing to do FF2 multiple times. You might be able to talk the FF3 runners into having one though. Just saying, speedgaming.org, it has a host my event page. It's an option for people. We had a great turnout for this tournament. You know, I was hoping we would break double digits. We got right there. And just people who wanted to have some fun playing FF1. It's a nice, reasonably short RPG. If everything goes great, sub 2 hour range. We kind of plan these for going more like 2:30 because that's what happens when things start going horribly wrong. Or not even just horribly, but just FF1 wrong. Ice Cave, you start getting some big money like this 10k gold that Leggy is going after right now. I think chat's rooting for another FF1 tournament after we do this one, and yeah, that's an option, although we will probably give it a break for a bit, but nothing says we can't do another one of these. The Ice Shield we won't use, but it does sell for good money, so it's a nice pickup there. And then the Eye. The Eye is a really good experience encounter. In fact, in other versions, you'll farm experience here. In this version, we're no longer able to do that. So we just get the Levistone and take our leave of this place. Instead of the trap tile encounters, they've replaced most of them with these cloaked NPCs, and that signifies that it is a repeatable fight if you leave the floor. This will respawn anytime you leave the floor, and then you'd be forced to refight it like we do here to be able to exit. If somehow you had spells and could exit place, obviously you wouldn't have to do that, but you have no way to class change before completing this dungeon, so that doesn't really matter here, but it could theoretically matter in other places, as the undead do their thing and kill one of the black mages. This is why we don't keep a death counter, because the numbers would get way too high. Alright, Funknasty through with Crescent Lake on the way to the ice cave. The Frost Wolves are an interesting danger because if they all throw out their frost skill, it will kill you for sure, but their chance to do it is low enough that you rarely see big damage out of that encounter. Also, if you take the approach to kill it with fire, you're usually going to get them down before they can do anything. A sort of high five in the river system here between Funknasty and leggystarscream with the Levistone. Leggy is now on the way to picking up the airship. Funknasty needs to get through the ice cave to be able to grab it. And again, these are some higher level enemies, so even after Ice Cave, many of these are actually still higher level enemies than the game was designed to give you this early. So sort of an interesting design change that they made, but presumably they just put all of the river tiles in the same encounter pool because for some reason that was easier to program. Or so we assume. Alright, leggystarscream with about an ice cave lead. That is still close enough to be very competitive. So, a very interesting question in chat about the high encounter rate and is it a good thing, is it a bad thing? If we could get the same levels on less encounters, that would obviously be a good thing. If we were getting less encounters and needed more level for Lich, there'd always be a way to force it. After Lich, it really wouldn't be a problem because the experience for the enemies grows as much as it does. Really, it's Piscademons and Lich where you kind of need minimum levels to be able to get through the fight. And if we weren't getting enough experience, then we'd find a way. It just has a lot to do with what encounters you would see if you got fewer ones. If you got fewer of the trash runs, it would be fantastic. Everything would work out great. If you were getting wolves as a higher percentage of fewer encounters, then that would just stink because they wouldn't be worth enough. That's kind of the best quick answer that I can give to the question. Carney Islands time. Now that you can get here by air, you can get stuff. And among the stuff is a whole lot of money. Also, there's an elixir and an X potion available, and they are complete heals. Those are something we're going to want. Funk likes to pick up that flame sword to sell it later. It's pretty good money. You have to go a little out of the way to get it, probably about half an encounter's worth of a walk. Not terrible. Now armed with a bunch of money, Leggy is gonna go to the waterfall to get the cube, which we're gonna need for later. There's also even more money here, helping to set up the final shopping. And Funk has come to the extra room here. You're gonna get wolves on that box, yeah. Apparently by design, shouldn't have any trouble killing them unless RNG is just terrible with these ice storms. Waterfall also home to the first ribbon you're able to get. Alright, Leggy working through the waterfall, Funknasty working through the ice cave. I was trying to think if there were any enemies in common between these two, and I don't believe there are. Although the overworld around the waterfall, when you're on land tiles, can have some of the same enemies. You can get the frost giants out there. I guess mummies do appear in... Do they appear in Ice Cave? I think they do. I don't know. Chad, I'm too tired to think tonight. Let's just enjoy FF1 and not have to think. The runners have to think. They're doing enough thinking for all of us. That's the way I see it. Alright. Funk drops down to put the eye out in this ice cave. Didn't get the turn order, but it's gonna go fine. The eye is gonna survive. Guess you could say it was egg-eyed. Okay, I'll admit I thought that was gonna sound better than it did, but whatever, here we are. And where Leggy is leaving the waterfall. Rare green dragon hype! Chad wants to know how you banned the commentator. The answer is you signed up to do the commentary instead of me. Alright, more wolves! Funknasty's side, and another rare green dragon for leggystarscream. I think they're group 7 if I'm recalling correctly, so you definitely can see them here, but you're talking something approximate to the NES Warbeck levels of rarity. Just for contrast's sake. Question in chat, what is the highest black magic spell necessary for the speedrun? We'll pick up the 3 elements, the fire, the thunder, and the ice. So, what would be the 3 spells on the NES? I guess would be the Ajas, so Fire Aja, Thunder Jara. I cannot get that to roll off the tongue, no matter what. So I generally prefer the U.S. naming convention of 1, 2, 3 because I feel like we won that one. I feel like that's one where the U.S. should import it back to Japan. Our convention is better. we will get the high level elemental spells, and then that'll be it. Other than that, it's haste and temper. Potions, we of course, after we purchase the fairy bottle, we're able to get the special Underhill shop where we can buy these potions like the Giant's Tonics for adding 200 to the max HP, speed drinks, help with the agility. Those are just for the chaos fight, actually. Theoretically, you could use it for Tia, not one, but generally, only you'll see most runners pull that out for the chaos fight. So there's a blizzard spell pickup. The money just doesn't go as far as you'd like in this game, and you see Leggy buying the pro rings there, and you could certainly use those ruby bracelets, which were gold bracelets. 80k would be a lot more than you have at this point in the run, but you'd gladly spend it for that armor. It's just not an option. So you buy items instead, and we just try and go fast and kill things faster. Funknasty, you gotta pick up the airship here, as Leggystarscream is picking up the Oxy Ale, enabling access to the Sea Shrine. Things going reasonably well for both runners right now. Obviously, Leggy has just been able to execute a lot of things better and make progress through the game faster, so has a lead right now, but Funk is playing a solid game right now. And keeping it reasonably close enough to be in the final dungeon at the same time. Little runner contrast there with Funknasty picking up the 2 blizzard spells. So pro rings are the best arm accessory we're able to get for these mages and for the black belt. That's the value in picking them up now. It's the best defense we're able to put on the arm slot. These trolls have a headache, and it's a very shocking experience, but we are in the Sea Shrine for Leggystarscream, and first we head to the mermaid section, where we need the diamond bracelet, known as the opal on the NES, and also the Rosetta Stone. Chat, did you know there have been multiple copies of the Rosetta Stone found? Now, interesting, Funknasty didn't get all the gold that was available there, and there's a lot of it. And it would have been enough to go ahead and purchase the bottle over here, but there's also good money in the waterfall, and every runner has a different plan, so see how it works out for Funk. Leggy using the different levels of the Thunder spell because you don't need the full Thunder 3 to take those enemies out. You can use the second level to clean them up. Enough damage to get them out of the way and give you that pretty good experience for the sharks. It's just not really worth it if there's only one to use 2 spells, but if you've got a couple of them in the fight, it's the same number of spells, that really changes the equation. Would the party benefit from a thief's ability to run? As I am told, in this version of the game, it's actually the black mages who are the best at running away. And the advantage they give on the NES is if they're in the party lead, they're better at it. So you really wouldn't see any thief advantage versus, say, the fighter. Because you're keeping the monk, but if you wanted to make it a thief up there for a statue, I can't see any net positive to that. You would just have a worse early game. And you do have to do enough killing to be in the mid-20s before you get to Chaos, if not higher. 25 is kind of the low end, 27 is more the typical. And if you really push it, you can be up in the 30s. Ooh, the Odd Eye is always a welcome sight. Affectionately known as the EXP Pinata. And Funknasty has finished up the waterfall. Well, in the one-way sense, now gotta actually leave. And it feels like a really long walk. I mean, obviously it's the same amount of distance as coming in, but it feels worse! That's what's important. I mean, try just walking backwards in your room and see how that goes. Much less an entire cave. So the Sea Shrine is a noticeable uptick in the experience available, and there's several items here that we want. We've already gotten the big ones with the Rosetta Stone and the Ruby Armlet, but also we're going to pick up the Giant's Gloves over here, which cast Saber when used as an item, and there's another ribbon that is on this floor that we're going to want to pick up. That's in that center room, known via randomizer as the Sharknado room. Funk is now out of the waterfall, trying to move on to bigger and better things. Gonna have to purchase the bottle, which should be no problem with the money now out of the waterfall. And then we'll also have to go get the Oxyel back from Gaia. Leggy, by contrast, still has a return trip to Elfland in the future to pick up the haste spell. But that's routed, it's planned. There's a few little variations like that you see from runner to runner. How they get the spells in particular is one of the most common things that are different between various runners. Second ribbon obtained. You get both ribbons for this Sea Shrine, but ironically, this is one of the least important places to have ribbons. There's not a lot of status attacks in the Sea Shrine. So Kraken intended to be the third fiend, but once we have the canoe, we basically have an open world because we can go get the airship at that point and then do things in whatever order we so please. And we so please to come up, get the ribbons, do the waterfall, and then deal with Kraken while we're up here. Funknasty already did the armor and spell shopping here in Gaia, May still have a trip to the item shop on the way up to the ferry, we'll see. Hey, I call things every once in a while. So it's a good place to get stocked up on a few necessities, particularly ethers and high potions. Maybe a few Phoenix Downs while you're at it. And Funknasty about to pick up the Oxyale. That's leggystarscream about to do battle with Kraken. Now, Kraken here is not usually the biggest threat. The worst thing Kraken can do is open up meleeing with big crits against black mages. But elsewise, we just need to get the thunder charges off. Inks don't matter. Attacks against statues also do not matter. So very good Kraken RNG. The Fiend of Water is down. Leggystarscream has the second crystal restored. Or technically now, depending on how you count it. So that finishes all dealings with Onrak for leggystarscream as Funknasty about to descend to the watery depths of the Sea Shrine. While there, we picked up the Rosetta Stone. Now, Leggy is going to go and get that translated from Dr. Un, thus learning the language of Lupa. Picking up silver rings there for some improved defense. Oh, shark running away. You don't see that too often. But that's what Funk sees as the Sea Shrine journey continues. This is Leggy's trip to Elfland to pick up the haste spell. Spell obtained, and now you have your choice between Volcano and Sky. Volcano happens to be right here. Question chat, which part of FF1 speedrun allows the most variation? I'm not sure I understand the question / how broad you're asking, if you mean like across all versions of all the games, or if you mean this version in particular, where's the most variation you can take. Racing this version can actually make a lot of sense to use different parties formations that are slower in terms of their total potential, but actually more reliable and thus may work out better on the averages for you in a race setting versus a PB / world record attempt. For that, see Shane Zell's party choices that have occurred during this tournament, including using a white mage earlier today. Another question in chat, does the Pixel Remaster version have limited spell slots like the original? Yes, it does, with one important difference, that we have Ethers, which will restore 1 MP per level. So, by the time you have a bunch of money, you have de facto unlimited spells, but you're going to have to menu a lot for them. What is the most unforgiving section of the run? Marsh Cave. Marsh Cave, your resources are the most limited, and that can be the absolute worst RNG of a place instead of a boss. Every time you see the fiends, make no mistake, they have the ability to kill us. It's just how high or low that chance is. Merilith doing a great job of illustrating that for leggystarscream. That's a good point in chat, that Chaos unto himself can be a marsh cave worth of variation. And that's why I tried to qualify it that as a location as opposed to a boss. But earlier this year, we had a Final Fantasy Relay, which is an annual event, happened on another major channel, and that saw one runner lose the better part of 30 minutes just fighting Chaos and not even doing anything wrong. It's just Chaos was that unforgiving. Crystal number 3 restored for leggystarscream, and should be a straight flight south, pretty much, to make the trek to Lefane. As for what area is the most forgiving, really the Sea Shrine is probably the nicest place. You're not worried about status attacks anymore. Your spells are going to clear out all the enemies. Really the most unpleasant thing is how much you'll have to manually menu, and you can't just spam the same spell all the time, because some enemies need thunder, some need fire, and some need blizzard. Similar situation for Mirage Tower as well. But as far as outside the bosses go, the dungeons are substantially nicer at that point than what we've been dealing with. Now, when you are chasing PB attempts, there is something to be said for getting your worst RNG out of the way early. Another question in chat, does removal of Peninsula Power affect the Pixel Remaster run at all? At all is an interesting question, because maybe we could make use of it before Earth Cave, but probably we wouldn't. And certainly not more than a couple fights if we did, but it's pretty unlikely. So, without having it as an option and testing it, it's a little hard to answer, but generally speaking, I would say no. Because I don't think any speedrun version uses Peninsula Power, so it's unlikely that it would make more sense here than any other version. casual play, it's a great place to get a bunch of levels, but for speedruns, that's usually not when you need the levels. And when you need the levels, you have access to better experience, like the Agamas or the Eye. Okay, Funk working through this sea shrine as Leggy climbs the Mirage Tower. Here comes Kraken. Leggy got this first try with a Kraken who never meleeed the non-statue characters, which is exactly what you want to see. Just don't hit our mages. One of the interesting things I'll point out about how Leggy has routed this is because of fighting Carrie Marilith first, the black belt is already revived, which for Mirage now gives you an extra chance to run away from fights if you want to. So theoretically that should improve the random encounter RNG. First floor of the Sky Castle, Funknasty does get past Kraken. This floor has the Bane Sword, now known as the Razor, which casts Bane, this poison smoke, also called Scourge in this version. There's also a free Pro Ring available on that floor if you're so inclined. It's a way to help the money stretch a little bit. I do like to get that one. And then this floor, very importantly, has our third and final ribbon. For random encounters, it's not overly important, but super important for the boss of this place. Time for Funk to get the slab translated, or Rosetta Stone if you insist. But I will note, nobody has ever insisted I call it something other than the NES names. Alright, maze floor. All you have to do is vertical to horizontal to whatever combination you care to make those in. Elfland for Funk to get the haste spell. And Bridge of Destiny for leggystarscream. Chat, this is your time to root for Warmech if you're so inclined. To clarify for chat, the Peninsula power is removed in this version. It doesn't have the higher level encounters. So there's only the theoretical discussion of would we use it if it was there. It was a byproduct of the fact that on the NES you had this grid system for determining the encounters, and technically it was on a Northern Continent grid. And it was only one or two sections, one or two tiles there. Alright, Tiamat! Makes you very happy to have ribbons because Tiamat can do some crazy damage with spells as Thunderbolt comes out. And Chime obtained for Funknasty. Still buffing up that black belt to do as much damage as possible. And Tiamat goes down. So that is the fourth and final crystal restored for leggystarscream. Probably a quick shopping trip before Chaos Shrine, I am guessing. Is Funknasty about to start the Mirage Tower? The sandworms can be a little annoying with their earthquake ability, but with ribbons should be fine. And no shopping, Leggy just going right for it. Through the time warp into the past. Here we go with the Chaos Shrine. Where autosaves are your friend, but the floors are really long, so you gotta manually save anyways. Now our randoms are not typically a huge problem because we can one-shot them all with spells. If you're trying runaway strats, then that can get a little more dicey. Also, certain enemies more dicey than others. Not so much these chimeras, but the white dragons on this floor do get dicey if they start casting their spell. Funknasty up to the teleporter floor at least. These early floors before you get to the elements have a lot of really good experience, like these green dragons. 4 green dragons would... no, they wouldn't. Never mind. That's what randomizer thing. 4 green dragons are an incredible source of experience. Let's say that. Bye-bye to the vampires. And hello to the Death Eye. So 2 things about this room matter. One is picking up that last full heal. There is actually one more on the fire floor, but no one picks it up because there's just too few situations where it would matter to be worth the time. And then we finally get to use that musical instrument from an hour and 40 minutes ago. We finally use the loot and advance on in the Chaos Shrine. As Funk gets the final ribbon. Chad asks if you could live in any FF city or town, where would you live? Assuming it is reserved to FF1 specifically, give me Canaria so that the worst I have to worry about are some imps. I mean, would you really want to live with around Crescent Lake or Elfland and have snakes be a thing? If you could choose to live in a world with no snakes, wouldn't you choose the no snakes? And spiders. Alright, fun. Gotta change things up and go to the left. This is, the guard sentry is a really good encounter for experience, but it looks like one of the mages, both of the mages ran out of MP. You may want to cease, yeah, you're gonna want to cease the auto battle and do some spells instead of just whacking it with a stick. Another fun fact about this game that I am told, from a reliable source at least, I can't independently verify it, but I am told that the wooden staff in the Japanese version would literally translate to being the word for stick. So when I say that our black mages are hitting stuff with a stick, that is an accurate translation. Bridge of Destiny for Funk. Still trying to get a Warmech in tournament proper. Doesn't look like it's coming today. Meanwhile, Leggy is now about to do battle with Lich number 2. Lich number 2 has Flare, which is just nasty stuff that will absolutely one-shot kill the black mages. Does not do it on the first turn, that's nice. You need a few buffs on the black belt to be able to do the real damage, and it's very noteworthy right now. The HP on Leggy's side is nowhere near as good as it is on Funk's side. This really matters, and this is the part of the game where it really starts to matter. Obviously, taking out Lich doesn't really show it there, but one flare spell would have easily one-shot both mages, and we're gonna have some pretty powerful spells come out also from Tiamat and Chaos, and if your HP isn't good enough to live through one shot of them, it makes life very hard. Tiamat 1 down for Funk. Getting extra experience onto the black belt is not a bad thing, but really extra wouldn't help on the mages at this point, because for Funk the HP is really good. That's something that would matter more for Leggy at this point. So all the experience you can get on that monk is a plus now. And now, it's gonna be volcano time for Funk. For Leggy, it's Merilith time. Speaking of snakes. Well, you didn't really need that black mage anyways. Ooh, rare hype! The Tyrannosaurus, that is tied for the most experience that an encounter can give you, and it is a rare one. So, rare hype on Funk's side. Leggy just needs turn order this time. I appreciate and respect the heal. It's not going to matter. And just barely survives to take out Merilith. That's where I was saying that HP numbers matter, and it has this habit of compounding because now you've got a fiend fight that you didn't get the experience from. And you may see the same thing on Kraken as well. Now, some of the best experience of the game is available here as Leggy sets up the nuke and run strats. So, high enemy counts here, maybe worth throwing the spell out there. I don't think Leggy is watching the restream. If you saw this gap, I think the reaction would be to go ahead and take some of the fights here and pile up a couple extra levels for safety, knowing you have that gap available. $260 is a lot better for that one Black Mage, but under 200 for the first Black Mage is just not good. Cool. Ogre Mages on Funk's side. In any other version, that would be an unrunnable encounter, but they did take those away, so we can run from it all. I'm still amused by the focus spell doing the spotlight effect. I only saw that recently for the first time, and it highly amuses me. Double deep-eye fight, that's a great one. But Leggy gonna move on, ready to do battle with this Fiend of Water. Here's the Kraken 2 fight. Strat's pretty similar, throw the buffs on to the Black Belt, hit hard. Try not to get hit hard in return. Thunder comes out. Kraken's a weak mage. We got ribbons. We're okay with this. Kraken's threat is from hitting, and a big crit on the Black Belt would be bad. That's why the Black Belt is in the 4th spot, to make that chance as low as possible. Here come the hits. And Kraken goes down. You saw that big damage roll. Now, the armor is better on the Black Belt, but obviously that amount of damage that Kraken is capable of would have one-shot the Black Belt and just put you in an awful position. Here we go. The Sky Floor. One encounter on the way, and it's the Mind Flayers who are never pleasant as Merilith goes down on Funk's side. Funk may have a shopping trip to do, but elsewise on the way to the Chaos Shrine. Here comes the Tiamat 2 fight. This is a big one for Leggy. This is one of the places where RNG can just be awful to your party, especially if the HP is a little low. Like here. Here comes the Thunder, not so bad. First round of buffs stacked onto the Black Belt. Second round, free turn as Tiamat attacks the statue. Second round of buffs onto the Black Belt. This is perfect RNG so far for Leggy. The Blizzard comes out. Perfectly fine against those ribbons. Another round of buffs on the Black Mage. Just needs a cooperative Tiamat to not come out with a big hit against the Black Belt. Don't want to see Scourge come out, but elsewise should be fine. Funk heading into the past. And again the big spell from Tiamat, but it's not enough. Tiamat is terminated. I need some water after that. Any sip emotes in chat? Final floor, there are encounters. You will get one. There it is. Now save up, heal up, in front of Chaos. And so it begins at 155. Leggystarscream has reached Garland, and it's time to do this crazy thing. $20,000 HP to deal with on this Chaos. The only way we get there, by throwing a whole bunch of buffs on the Chaos. Already taking out the one black mage on the first turn, who I don't even think got their buff off. Tsunami, that's rip number 1 to Chaos. So that's where I was getting at on why I was so concerned about the HP, is that when Chaos can one-shot you, you can't even get that first round of buff off. That's a big difference on the fight. It really sets things back, because you're hoping to get at least 2 actions, if not 3 or 4 out of the black mages, but you really want to get 2 out of them. And when you don't, it's just that much more challenging to do this fight. Giant's Tonics to raise the max HP, and that gets off clean as Garland decides to swing at a statue. Just the temper going down there is actually perfect, because the haste is the one we have to get in. And here comes the sabers from the Giant's gloves. Spells are actually what you want to see Chaos do. They're not as powerful as the abilities. Cyclone is an ability, so that's stronger. Gonna have to use a complete heal here and hope that Chaos cooperates this turn. Does. Leggy is in this. Still probably needs a couple rounds of buffs. That's a big hit, but it's not as bad as it could be with the haste. Slow would be devastating. And probably time... Probably gonna see Leggy do a heal before going auto battle on the punching. I'm wrong. Tsunami comes out. Now you're gonna have to heal. Blizzard, that's be fine. Good position to be in. Will there be a couple more sabers? No, just gonna go for it. Already got 3,000 damage in. That's over 6,000. Over 10,000. 13. Haste, now you gotta avoid the melees. 17, this should do it. GG! Leggystarscream with a sub 2 hour Chaos. Funknasty doing very well here. Is about to get to the Earth floor. Had it competitive, and if that had been a more uncooperative Chaos, we could have even seen the runners on the same fight. But moving at a fine pace here, playing very well, and should be able to finish this up. Ooh, double worm. That's a very good experience encounter. Didn't help when they killed the mage, though. So we finally have enough money to do basically anything we want to, and we can't do anything with it. Because, yeah, video games. That's how we do in RPGs. Alright, onto the earth floor for Funk. Looks like Funk gonna take the kill it with fire approach. Salad strategy. The level ups don't make a huge difference at this point, other than the max HP. Other than there would actually be an advantage to getting the black belt to level 32, but we're pretty far off from that, so it's not a real consideration. But that's why you generally won't see runners farm levels in Chaos Shrine. Bunch of golems in there just a pain to deal with because they resist the elements, so even though this is a really, really nice chunk of experience for 6 golems, there's no good way to kill them. What there is a good way to kill is Chaos. That's what Leggy did, sub 2 hours, and that always has to feel good.
Yeah, no, that is officially my new PB.
Hooray! Well,
no,
I couldn't have felt comfortable going in with the Black Mage HP, though.
I mean, one of them was fine. One of them was a little sussy, but one of them was fine.
And then you just had Chaos cooperate the second time around, and that's perfect!
You know, like, if Chaos is gonna, you know, go for the second try, you know, I will gladly take Tornado into Tsunami, no chance in hell. Let's just wipe it up and try again.
I mean, that's about as fast as you could do to try Chaos.
Yeah, like, maybe he nukes you, but, like, you don't want to count on that.
Alright, well, we've got Funk on Lich, too, who has played well, just you executed well throughout and kept building a little advantage in dungeon after dungeon. And yeah. Lich 2 down.
Hell yeah. Lich, honestly, Lich is the scariest one on the way down.
So Chad had the important question of which town in Final Fantasy would you want to live in. I said Canaria because then no snakes.
Yeah. Like, I like the ocean a lot, so, you know, there's a lot of good options, you know. It's also the question of whether or not we're talking about, you know, towns as they exist in the game, or towns, you know, in the past before the Fiends started wrecking everything. Because, like, let's face it, Lefade at the height of its prosperity would be an incredible place to live.
Speaking of snakes, here's Merilith 2. First round of buffs is on. And this really shouldn't be any problem when you're talking about everybody being over 300 HP. As you can see, chat's been having some fun tonight.
I mean, you gotta.
Absolutely. Merilith down on Funk's side. And a level up for the trouble. Why not? So, any other standout points in this run for you?
Like, I'm honestly gonna have to watch it back, you know, once we... Honestly, the fact that I got a first try Tiamat one, you know, at that point, just everything blanked out, all the all I was thinking about was like, okay, I need to kill Chaos.
I think you did run out of antidotes or close to it in Earth Cave.
So I was definitely a little shy on resources early, like, you know.
Well, yeah, 5 deaths will do that.
Oh right, my fighter got crit by Garland. What the heck was that?
That was 2 hours ago. Understandable, that's a little hard to remember. Yeah. The fighter of all people. The one who's not supposed to die.
Right? But yeah, at this point, like, with all the no reset runs and practice I've done, you know, I am very comfortable with kinda janky runs through Astos. And like, are some of them gonna PB? Probably not. Except, you know, tonight, I was almost, like, 5 minutes behind my PB when I beat Vampire, and I still PB'd. It just goes to show you how much variance there is in this game from run to run.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that you can't make up that time in, say, the second half of the game, but it's like, why start at a 5-minute deficit?
Right. But, you know,
for PvE settings.
Yeah. In a tournament setting like this, you don't have that luxury, so figuring out, like, where you're comfortable early on, especially in, like, the Inland Sea phase of the game before you open up the canal, is really important to just, like, going through that and understanding, like, where some of that variance is. Because I know that, you know, especially early on, you want to sit there and you want to grind up until you're comfortable. But the more and more you practice it, the less and less you need to do that, and that's where you can really start getting some of those early leads. Even if variance decides to mess around with you a little bit.
Here comes Tiamat 2 now. Again, this is where that extra HP that Funk has should pay off. But occasionally, Tiamat says, oh, you thought you had an advantage? Try this. Fire spell, that's pretty free. Blizzard, also free. Got this many buffs already on Tiamat, and this should go pretty smooth from here. Fire, and Tiamat says, how nicely can I play today? Well, just mean enough to kill one of the black mages. And Tiamat down. And again, you like to do all your healing before the floor transitions, so that it is saved. Otherwise, losing saves is unlucky, but I don't really think there's any formations on the Chaos floor that are that threatened, particularly.
Yeah, like, as far as I can tell, there aren't any new encounters on the Chaos floor.
Oh, no, they're all old,
yeah.
but...
Yeah. Like, honestly, I think the worst of them is probably Vampire Lords, just because...
Death Eye. Haven't really seen him before, but not really a big threat.
I'll be honest, I didn't know he was here.
I'm guessing that's the one in 64.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Alright, don't need to ether because you don't need fire charges for Chaos. Coming in here to 210, that's very respectable.
Yeah, especially in a race setting. Like, this game just requires so much of a positive mindset. You have to, like, really handle everything the game wants to throw at you if you're gonna just keep going and keep on plowing through.
First turn, Chaos gives us a freebie attacking the statue.
Let's go. Love to see it.
Yeah, big difference when you can get those Giant's Tonics on for free in the first round. Second round also free.
Oh, that is so nice.
So the buffs are good and the HP is high enough that the mages should live through anything Chaos does, so we should at least get one more round of buffs, and this is as good a start as Chaos can give you. Now make no mistake, has every chance to go off the rails, but this is a great start.
Going for Protect Rings. I hadn't actually considered that strategy before, but that seemed like a really interesting way to negate those physical attacks.
I think Shanezel was talking about that recently. In particular with his White Mage strats.
Mm-hmm.
This is also kind of the point where I like to throw a heal on, and that elixir is very timely.
Yup. One Black Mage stays up with that 2 HP, you'll love to see it.
The Flare, we're going to need to heal again, coming out with only 2,000 damage, but missing the slow. 4,000, 6,000, definitely need to heal. 8,000. Blizzard, perfect turn. Another perfect with the Blizzard, 10,000. Approximately, folks. 12. 14. 16. Still cooperating. 18. Probably going to need 2 turns. Or a big crit. That was it!
That's it.
Just did it with the crit! So I approximate it with the whole numbers in the thousands, obviously, is what I was doing there, and had it at 18,000 going in there, but I knew I had rounded up on a couple of those turns, so without that extra 400 damage, I don't think that would have been enough, but Funk was still going to get it the next turn, even if that turn hadn't crit, but how sweet that crit to finish it off. GG, Funk.
Thanks.
You played a solid game throughout. I mean, the early game was a little rocky on both sides with the character deaths. I mean, I recall you went to Canaria with just the fighter alive at one point.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I was really hoping that Phantom at the end would drop me the elixir.
That would have been sweet.
That
Honestly,
way I guaranteed.
yeah.
Well, Funk, you played a good one throughout, and you had the great mage HP, which obviously paid off a little in that chaos fight.
Yeah, that was nice, because a couple of matches ago I had 258 with the black belt going into the chaos fight. So that's a whole lot nicer.
Beforehand, you said you had some nerves coming into this one. How's it feel to get through it?
Now that I'm looking at the times, I had a feeling Leggy was due to finally get low too.
Aw, shucks. Yeah, like
I've seen you like on your stream, and I was like, she's gonna get it soon. I was hoping it wasn't against me.
yeah. I feel a little bad with how stressful today's been, but hey, you know,
The sad
at
part
least
is my internet's been better
called
today.
that first try chaos.
Yeah, did you get first try or second?
I got second, but I got a super fast wipe. Just wham bam 2 AoEs and I was down.
Yeah, I'm gonna have fun going back and making notes after
Yeah.
this. And
I will give you a quick spoiler. Of something that I didn't realize. If Garland crits, the fighter can die
okay,
in one shot from max health.
Level 1 max health, but yes.
Yeah.
that's good to know. I was okay. That's information I was not expecting to get.
Yeah.
It's a tournament, we're going to see something of everything, although we still need tournament proper to get a War Mech.
Oh, I got an Iron Golem the other day, so I don't know if anyone else has.
I think
Yeah.
that's the first for tournament proper.
I was hoping for the double, because I needed the levels at the time.
Before we move on to final thoughts, let me just point out there is another race going on SpeedGaming 4. That's Rokeby and Pookie. They're about a little over halfway through, so when we wrap up, that'd be a great place to go if you want to see more FF1. Leggy, anything you want to say?
This has been a ton of fun participating so far. Like, I'm only halfway through my matches, and I'm gonna keep going. The sub 2 feels incredible. It's something I've been working for basically as long as this game's been out. And like, even if it had to be, against an incredible rival and such, I'm really, really happy to finally get the PB.
And Funk, as you put a cap on this one, anything you'd like to say?
Toward the end, I thought I was possibly going to get my third PB during the tournament. But it just kind of fell apart in the final dungeon. But
Yeah.
Saturday, I got another try.
You
That's
got
the great
this.
thing about speedrunning, there's always another try.
Yeah, and plus I got a day to practice, so there's always...
Alright, well thank you both for a great show. Chet, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. Hope you had as much fun as we did. And again, there's another race going on SpeedGaming 4 if you'd like to see more. And of course, there's more ahead on the SpeedGaming family of channels. Hope you're following them to see more like this and other great racing happening. Thank you, everybody, and please have a great rest of the evening.